Welcome back, everyone, and I hope you're enjoying all of our snazzy little graphics that are flying up here. Yes, I am having fun, and we'll be having some fun today, and we'll be looking forward to tonight's show with the Nano Girl. I'll be coming with you in just a moment. Look at that, all the way from down under. Donnie, my brother, how you doing, man? How you doing to all of you out there? Yes, I have given up. I am refusing to try and fix my Barnet anymore. I have now just resigned myself to the fact that I will pick a hat to wear each day because I'm done with it. I'm totally done with this whole hair thing. Now I know that Samson and his locks, and you gain great power from long hair, right? You don't want to see what's going on under this hat. You do not want to see what's going on under this hat, folks. It's bad. Dang. Oh, it's a mess. Yes, indeed. I tell you, it would be worthy of a show unto itself. Yes, so we have got Donnie coming from all the way down under. Great to see you, brother. Do you ever sleep, Donnie? This is the question. We also have Cackles. Good to see you. Frank, Sam, the Wookie. And the Wookie is the one responsible for all of these, flashy little graphics that you're now seeing. Yes, all the guests will have their flashy little graphic as well. There's lots more coming, and we can credit the Wookie as really igniting the fire under my tuchus to get me going on the After Effects. So I don't know. I hope it adds to the look of the stream. There won't be too much. Too much is it goes over the top, but just a nice little balance of my precious mind under my hairy head and some new graphics. So yeah, having good fun. Who else we got in there? Let's see. We got Lewis, ZX. Good to see you, ZX. And me and ZX appear to be on the same synchronicity, as is Cackles. There's synchronicity with her with today's title about forests, and we know my fascination with the forests. So listen, I really should probably put that somewhere on the description. Some disclaimer that the Kev Baker Show takes no responsibilities for any synchronicities that you start to stumble upon when you tune into this show. And it's not me starting it all off. It's the information, it's the vibe that we've got going here. We've got about a couple hundred really solid people that keep coming back for more. And I'm all about quality over quantity. And I love what we're doing here right now. I really do. We're going down some deep rabbit holes. Some of the information that we got from Donnie and Luna with Jess as well. That's never been heard before. Maybe I don't blow my own bugle enough. That kind of information, we are so lucky to be getting that. And again, how's that come to us? Because of the synchronicities on the show. Dang, it's all going well. And then we've got Mark Breckle in there as well. And let's see, Just Be Happy. Good to see you, brother. Legend, Big Jim. How you doing, man? We did a King Sweet, the King. His Majesty himself, Sam Rodriguez, I think I got you. But I'll do it again anyway. We have got Saint Marionette. Yes, indeed. Claire Neely. Now, be gentle with Claire. It's one of her first times on the live stream. She's new over here. So give her a big Kev Baker Show welcome in the chat room. You all out there. We've got Jose Ramon Francis. Leslie was in here, but she seems to have disappeared now as well. But that's okay, because we're ready to crack on. And Andy, Spooky Andy as well. He's listening in. I seen he just messaged me there over on the Skype. Now, I'm not going to look at that just yet because that'll just take me way off where I'm going just now. But I'll get to that in a moment because we're back again to talk about forests. All right. And it's just a nice little topic to kill the time and bring us up to when Nano Girl is going to come onto the show today. And she's going to be talking about something called, and I'll pull it up here on the screen for you all to see. She's going to be talking about this reality in transition. There's going to be current events, there's going to be woo, and I can't think of a better show to continue on from last night with Charlie Robinson. So I hope you all tune into that today. We'll be over at tfrlive.com. And if you're in Discord, we open a room up in the Discord as well where you can hear it in there. But yeah, this picture's kind of apt, really, because I've often, to the point of being ridiculed, talked about the fact that forests and wooded areas, they just amaze me. They bamboozle me. Even from a youngster growing up in the Highlands, woods all around. No stranger from the woods, right? And then I think it was only when I really joined the army and I was spending night after night at times out there, camped out, staying up all night for nights on end, that I really got a truer or more, a realer feel for what is some kind of supernatural, almost life force that is in a forest from the very top of the canopy right down to the roots in the ground. And there's almost something very magical going on there. And a lot of the stories that we cover in recent times, when we've been going down the mythological and the kind of legends route that we've been taking, more often than not, yeah, there's giants in there, but you also find all of these kind of little people, and a lot of the time it leads back to these forests. Now, you could say that it's because I go to the one website most days that if there seems to be some synchronicity in what we talk about on the show, and it's almost as if, and I'm not saying for 1 minute, not saying for 1 minute that anyone at Mysterious Universe listens to the show, but it's almost as if they produce the exact right type of article just at exactly the right time as we continue on this journey. Because today I almost spat out a full mouthful of coffee. I honestly did. Because yeah, I go there and I'm looking for something to bring to this little chill stream where we kick back, we relax, it's something to goof over, we can hang out with the chat. But then sometimes you just have to sit back and smile after you've almost choked on your coffee, right? Because bearing in mind everything we get into and the amount of times I go and listen to or read you articles from Nick Redfern, it's almost as if maybe we're syncing up to the point where we're thinking about the same stuff now. Would that be weird to say? It's not any claim, it's just an observation. And again, you could put it down to, well, we go to that website, so it's no coincidence that you end up on the same kind of wooded trail. Because it's that wooded trail we're going back to today, because this here is the article that had me choking on my coffee. And I knew as soon as I seen the picture, it'd be right up my alley. Get a load of this? Boom. Yes, there you go, folks. So that's what I was met with. That's the first thing I seen when I went to websites today to look for shows. Woods. And then you scroll down and look what it's all about. The spirit of the trees. Taking a look at ancient beliefs. Now I'm going to read you out a little bit of this. We'll talk about it. And I don't know, it's good stuff. I think it's a nice way to just kill some time and get us in the vibe, get us in the mood ahead of Nano Girl coming onto the show at 10 p.m. today. So that's 1 hour and 15 minutes from now. Okay, Nano Girl will be with us and she will be live. And tomorrow it's going to be Kevin from Minnesota. And then on Thursday, we're going to round off the week with Scotty Lopez. Oh, I love having Scotty Lopez on a Thursday. That's a perfect way to finish the KBS week. But let's get into this. It says, of many of the varied kinds of, of the many and varied kinds of fairies and elementals that were said to possess the awesome powers of shape-shifting, certainly one of the most mysterious and the strangest of all was the dryad. Now, I'd never heard of this dryad, or I don't think I have. I'm getting to the point now where after 1,300 shows and thousands of streams, there's that much information in there. Some of it I forget. Sometimes it's like my mum sometimes, she reminds me, she goes, you've looked at that before. Must be in one ear out. It must just get too crammed in there, right? So maybe we've talked about the dryads, and to any guests out there that came on to mention this name, if it's escaping me. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So it says it was a definitive entity of magical proportions that took the shapeshifting to a truly unique level, as we shall now see. So the dryad was a supernatural entity that features heavily in ancient Greek. So we've had Germanic, we've had Nordic, we have had the Tommy Knockers, etc., from Jason down the south of England. Now we're getting a Greek take on these little entities. So it says it comes from ancient Greek mythology, and which was exclusively associated with forests and woods and trees. Now, there was a very good reason for that. And the Britannica.com say of this strange magical creature, dryad, also called hamadryad in Greek mythology, a nymph or a nature spirit who lives in trees and takes the form of a beautiful young woman. Now, dryads were originally the spirits of oak trees, dries, oak, but the name was later applied to all tree nymphs. Now, it was believed that they lived as long as the trees were inhabited. So, in essence, the dryads were what today we would consider to be nature spirits. Nymphs, one might be justified in saying. So while within the teachings of ancient Greek, the dryads were seen as the guardians and protectors of trees and of the woods, there was a related belief that they were the trees. That each and every tree had its own spirit, one that could appear in the form of the tree itself or as a sprite-like fairy being. Different trees were possessed by or could shapeshift into different elementals and vice versa. For example, according to the Greeks, ash trees were the domain of the Meli or the Melai, most known within Greek mythology as the protectors and guardians of mighty Greek god Zeus during his earliest years. So there's a very, very fascinating picture there. Imagine seeing that walking through the forest. My goodness. So mulberry bushes were cared for by a subgroup of dryads known as the Moria. And the sky did likewise for fig trees, as did the balanos for the oak, the telia for the elm tree, and there were a very good reason why so much care and dedication went into protecting trees. Should a tree die, then the elemental within it, or depending on one's belief system, the entity that could shapeshift into a tree, would also die. Just like the Selkie of Scotland and Iceland, the dryads possessed the magical ability to transform themselves into beautiful women and handsome men, with the female entity being the most often reported. And of course, we covered the Selkies not long ago. So it says, Theoi, Greek mythology site, provides some intriguing information. They demonstrate that there was more than one such type of entity. The Melie were nymphs of the ash trees. The Oreades, or Oreads, were nymphs of the mountain conifers, and the Daphne were nymphs of the laurel trees, one of the class of rarer tree-specific dryad. It gets awfully complicated and quite intricate, doesn't it, for something that I'm sure most people will say is absolutely way too far out there for them to go with. But you know me, I like to keep an open mind and talk about some good woo. Who knew you could talk about trees for so long, right? It says here, others included the quote, Nymphae agiori, or of black poplars, Ampeloi of grain vines, Balanus of the ilex, and Caryai of the hazelnut, Craniae, cherry trees, Moriae of the mulberry, and then we've got the Telliae of elm trees, and Skye, big trees. So we're almost done here, right? And then we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about the forest, and we'll get to see what people in the chat are saying. And I'm going to be interested to hear what Donnie has to say. Because I'm pretty sure that when we were talking on one of the episodes, he was talking about being out in the bush, and even the trees. Everything is spirit, right? Everything's connected. So it says here, Mythology Net, add yet further data to the magical tales. Dryads are considered minor and mortal goddesses who have exceptionally long lifespans but are deeply and supernaturally connected to the trees they call home, and are limited to the space of the tree or the forest that the tree grows in. If the tree dies, then the dryad could die along with it, which is a tragic vulnerability that is acknowledged by the gods. So it makes you wonder then, if you go along with this level of thinking, and I do think plant life has a consciousness. It might not be a consciousness that we ourselves appreciate or recognize, because it's not quite like ours. But are they alive? I think so. And if they're alive, well, what does that mean when you start chopping them down and not treating them with respect? Just saying. Not going all tree hugger on you. Well, I am. But it goes back here and it says, if the tree dies, okay, we had that. If a mortal causes the death, then that mortal is usually punished unless he or she attempted to make peace with or appease the dryad. And the dryads mischievously and fiercely protect the trees as well. And mortals would do well to not act foolishly around any tree inhabited or protected by a dryad. Cackles is saying I look hip in this hat. I think I actually look like one of these little elemental fellows that we're talking about. Probably look good as a gnome with this thing on. I've got a little bobble on the top. See? You can get that wiggling like that. People are going to love this. You're going to see videos of me looking in all sorts of states. Do I care? I care not one jot. Have at it. Do it. So it says here, indeed, we should be very protective of our trees. Whether you believe in the old legends or not, none can deny the near magical atmospheres that woods and forests provoke. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. And I know down in England right now, they're opening everything back up, I think July the 4th. Pretty much getting back to the way things were. And I don't know what the date will be up here in Scotland, but just to get out and about, you know, bare feet, even down in Glasgow Park, Glasgow Green, you know, you can almost, if you squint your eyes, you can imagine you're not in the city, just for a moment. And they've got the trees down there and everything else, but imagine just going out into the wilderness and just wandering. Yeah, big time. There's something to be said about all of that. And I'm not going all new agey and telling you to go out there and marry a tree or become the tree. I'm not saying that. Not saying that. But I do think that is almost like an alien world that is here within our own reality that many of us don't ever pay attention to. But in itself, it contains all of the woo, all of the good stuff we like to talk about. And you can throw into the forests the whole, well, where does everyone go missing? And I don't think there's any one kind of one shoe fits all kind of answer there. There's going to be a multitude of things. You'll find there's a commonality between some of the cases, but it's the weirdness of some of them as well. Am I blaming some of these entities that dwell in the forest? I don't know what goes on precisely in these forests. There certainly seems to be some thinning of the veil. Been talking a lot about the mist. The mist keeps coming up in recent times, especially when I'm with Scott Lopez. And what do you find typically in about trees in the morning? Mists. Just saying. I don't know. It's something that I will continue to pursue. It's something we'll continue to keep our eye open for stories coming out on. It's not the only piece of woo I've got for you today, because we're going to be going home up to Loch Ness to look at something we really need to talk about. Because maybe you're not into the old fairies and the sprites and the nymphs that you find in the forest, but I'd put money on it that most of you are interested in the Loch Ness Monster, right? Right? Well, we will come back in just a moment. I'm going to show you the latest image, video, Photoshop. We're going to take a look at whatever this is that is going through Loch Ness in just a moment. 76 amazing souls in here. And don't forget, just over an hour from now, you can hear the absolutely brilliant Nano Girl on TFRlive.com on the Kev Baker Show, of course. Be there or be square. That was really cheesy. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Connie is asking, am I feeling better? I don't know. This whole Mercury retrograde thing, this has been a weird week. I don't know. It's still kind of up and down. I don't know what you are all feeling like at home. I'm glad you brought this up, Connie. We'll take a look at the Nessie in a moment. I was going to mention this at the start, but it's almost like one of those feelings again where, I don't know, you just think you haven't done something. You were meant to be somewhere. You were meant to call somebody. You were meant to do... I don't know. And I've checked everything. And it's just one of these weeks, and I don't know if I'm picking up on something that's coming down the pike. I don't know how all of yous are feeling out there. It's almost as if we're just waiting for the next shoe to drop, right? What does 2020 hold in store for us next? Maybe that's what we're just picking up on right now. I really don't know, but yes, Connie, I am in good spirits, good health, and just riding the old Mercury retrograde wave, I'm telling you. So let's get over here. What on earth am I talking about? Loch Ness Monster spotted by Walker as new pics spark Nessie debate. Now, it says here, if the photos are real, they could be some of the best ever taken. And if they are real and they prove to be real, oh, they have got to be up there with the very best. They're going to be the quintessential picture when it comes to the Loch Ness Monster. But is it real? So, now this video, it looks as if it's going to show you the actual monster, doesn't it? It blatantly doesn't, folks. It shows you one of the other ones that was caught earlier in the year. When that finally unfreezes, that's what you would see. But it's not even going to let me pause that anymore now. I'll refresh it. Cancel. Okay, so come down here and it says... A tourist has captured an incredible series of photographs that have sparked online claims that he has snapped a picture of the Loch Ness monster. So, Steve Chalice is the man, and he's from Southampton. He was on holiday on Scotland in September with his brother last year when they decided to visit Uckert Castle on the banks of the famous loch. Now, this is about 20 miles from where I live, and it's one of the most famous parts of Loch Ness. You've all seen the castle on Loch Ness. That's where they're talking about, okay? I always used to think when I was growing up, when we were driving to and from Inverness, if you're ever going to get a chance to see the Loch Ness monster, just as you're going up the brae towards Uckert Castle, it's like the panoramic you get from there, it's got to be the biggest kind of volume of water, biggest surface area. And it would appear this is where this photograph has been taken. Now, look at this. Now, I've got a few images, I've got a few issues that I can see right off the bat here, and I've not taken it to any Photoshop or anything like that. I don't know how much this is going to blow up. I'll see if I can take that. Look at this here. Now, we come down here. You see how there's almost like a line down there, folks? You see that? And then you see a little bit of something here as well, like a... I don't know, okay? I don't know. And it looks like there's something wrong with that part there as well. Now, could it have been a boat in the water? And they've taken out the boat and they've put in something that looks like the back of... It's hard to really get any perspective, right? I mean, there's no... That there is close to the side. Is it? I don't know. I don't know. But I think it's a good one for us to talk about. One, you think it's real. Two, you think no. One for maybe. Two for no. You can let me know in the chat room. One for yep indeedy. Okay, we'll go for one for yes, that's the monster. Two for no, absolutely not. So let me know what you think, folks. I'm gonna go incognito just for 2 seconds. Let me know, ones and twos. Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag, really. We've got a few ones and a few twos. We've even got a 3 from Donnie. And Billy's going quantum. Of course, it's both the Nessie and not the Nessie at the same time. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. So, it's a good one though, right? It's a good one to look at, must admit. Again, I've just got a few issues with things like that. It's almost like a box effect that you're getting in there, look. See it? That's not looking right. And then you've got that bit up there that looks iffy. It's a weird one. It's a weird one, folks. It's a weird one. But yeah, we'll go back and see what it says about this. It says spotting the chance to get away from the majority of the other tourists who had arrived in a couple of coaches. Steve explained that he was initially photographing the opposite shore when he saw a sort of ripple in the water, adding that at first he spotted what he assumed at the time was a sort of fish, he said. I started taking a couple of shots and then this big fish came to the surface and then went back down again. It only appeared in one shot, and to be honest, that was something of a fluke. I watched for a while, as you can see from the last picture, but I didn't see it again. So here's the line, the wake. You see it? Almost, you know, the white line there. He says he estimated that it was 30 feet away and was about 8 feet long. He stated that it was only during the lockdown that he has had the time to go through the photos he had taken from his 2-week trip, stating that he had hundreds to go through, as he's a keen photographer. Now, I don't know, folks, I don't know. If you're up in Loch Ness and you see something like that emerging out of the water, is it going to take you 6 months to go and check what on earth's name it was that you caught? Is it? I don't know. I think, you know, if you're on holiday in the Highlands, you go to Loch Ness and you catch something like that, I don't think you're even waiting till you get home to see if you caught it. I really don't. And it is hard. No reference point. You can almost get a reference when you see it there, because you're looking to about here. So it's not far out from the shore at all. You can even see almost like the ledges along the bottom there. It's a different kind of colour. But I'll tell you, that's a deep bit of loch though. It might not be far out, but that's deep. Really deep. And then you're saying it took you ages to go and find that. So where's that bit of tree? There's that bit of tree there. So he caught that literally there. Right? I don't know, eh? So it says, after sharing the image of what appears to be a large creature emerging from the water online and people commenting that it might be the monster, Steve himself stated that he believes it is to be something more mundane, like a big fish or a seal. Now, you do get seals in there, I'll tell you that right now, and it could be that. It's a big seal though, right? Or is it a selkie? See? Come down, goes, personally, I know there's been some interest and some people are saying it's the monster, but I don't believe that. Steve added he initially thought it was a catfish and only posted it to, or so people could try and identify it for him, he said. And I have to say I don't believe in the Loch Ness monster. And frankly, I think if anything is there, then there's a logical explanation for most of the sightings. My guess would be that what I captured was a catfish or something like that. As seals get in from the sea, then I expect that's what it is, and that would explain why these sightings are so few and far between. Now, most of the seals that I've seen in the loch, they don't get anything like near massive. You know, I'm not saying that they don't, but it's not necessary, you know. It's not like a prerequisite. There's always giant seals. Oh, we've got a super coming in. Oh, make sure I've got it on. Hang on now. Yes, it's on. There we go. Sidvich, so good to see you, brother. Hey, Sid. That's going to come on the screen in a minute. We'll be thinking of you tomorrow, bro, big time. And you're looking very, very cool with your haircut, I must admit. And I was watching a programme today, a survival show, and they were in Norway, and there was one guy, an ex-forces guy, I think it was called Expedition Unknown. I think that's what it was, or dual survival, that's what it was.
Just in case you thought I was not listening. AFK now, funeral tomorrow, unicorn.
We'll be thinking of you, brother. But yeah, these two survival experts, one an ex-special forces guy, another guy totally off his head. He was in Norway, in the back of nowhere, up a mountain, with shorts on. Shorts. I know, right? I mean, I've been there. It ain't a weather for shorts up there. But I must admit, it did make me think of Norway. I'm going to think of Norway now, Sid. I think of you. So, we get back to this here. We're going to start pulling this together, wrapping up. I've got a real funny one before we go today, though. We'll get a good laugh. It's a really childish one to be laughing at, but it's still worth a laugh. So it says here, author Roland Watson, who runs the Loch Ness mystery blog, has been in discussion with Steve since finding the pictures on Facebook. The writer and Loch Ness monster expert is dubious about the authenticity of the photos. He said, up until now this year, we only had distant webcam blobs due to the lockdown at Loch Ness. Then this image turned up. If this is a genuine picture of a creature in Loch Ness, I would easily rank it in the top 3 of all time. At this point, I'm in an ongoing conversation with Steve as to the objections and concerns I have about this being a Photoshop picture. So we will see where that takes us. And a digital photography expert has also cast doubts on the picture, stating that it is likely Photoshop may have been used due to the colour saturation and the indistinct lining of the supposed animal in the main picture. Steve has defended the images, though, saying that they are genuine. He said there are pics on Google showing large monsters with lots of loops, like a snake or something, and my image is nothing like that. I genuinely think to this day it's just a big fish. Now, it is interesting that the guy himself isn't claiming that it's the Loch Ness monster. Here's what I think. Unfortunately, I think it's, as opposed to, I do, folks. I do. I've got real issues with this line going up and down there. It's almost like a blur tool's been used. That's what it looks like. And again, I'm the first guy that would love to bring you the pictures of the Loch Ness monster. And if Steve had been the man to get it, I would have been shouting his name from the rooftops. But I don't think it is. But again, it's not really relevant or even important what I think, because what do we do in here? You know what we do in here? I provide and you decide. Just like it says on the screen there. Pretty cool how that happened. But I'll bring you one more story today, right? And get ready to be laughing. It's a little bit of fun. It's nothing serious. And I tell you, you know, I'm talking a lot about the police and things in recent times. Why is there not protests? Why, ladies and gentlemen, is there not protests? Well, you're going to have to join me in a minute, and I'm going to tell you what's been happening because, I need to build up the suspense a little bit, right? You're going to have to hang on. You're going to have to keep waiting. Just be happy.
I just want to say brown chicken, brown cow. PPP.
Just be happy. Thank you very much, brother. There we go. So what is it? What is it that is... What have they done this time? You know, what is it that people should be really, really getting angry about? Well, how about a little bit of this? Dang! They're arresting people for provocative fuffling. Can you believe it? And the reason I call it a fuffle is because an ex-girlfriend of mine, she absolutely adamantly, stern-faced and smile at all, said, I don't fart, Kevin. I fuffle. I'm telling no word of a lie. That's honestly what she said to me. So I've always called it a fuffle since then. But yeah, imagine getting fined £450. What law has been broken? I hear you say. Well, it says here. It says a man in Vienna has been fined nearly 500 quid for fuffling provocatively in front of police officers. I had to pause for a moment when I read this earlier, you know. How do you provocatively fuffle in front of anyone? How do you do that? Is there like some kind of aggressive dancing procedure where you proceed to, you know, almost stick out and aggressively thrust said tuchus and the provocative smell towards the officers? Is this what happens? Did he take a running fuffle? Has anyone ever taken a running fuffle? I don't know, but the Austrian police were forced to defend the penalty after the Ostrich newspaper revealed that the man had been punished for offending public decency on June the 5th. Something about this crime stinks, ladies and gentlemen. It truly does. Oh, officers argued that the offender was uncooperative and behaving provocatively with the officers leading up to the incident. Was he actually giving a little bit of romantic dancing? Come closer, oh officer. Was he trying to lure them in with some hypno eyes and some snake hips, only to just kind of get them at the last minute, just kind of turn around, Pepe Le Pew them? I don't know. It says they wrote on Twitter that the man had been sitting... Oh my goodness, he'd been sitting on a park bench. Dang, dude. Before getting up. Oh, that was the aggressive manoeuvre of getting up that done it. And looking at them and letting go of, get this, quote, a massive intestinal wind, apparently with full intent. What? The man had a massive intestinal wind, apparently with full intent. So I'm now at the point where he's actually sitting there. He's trying to literally squeeze one out. You've all been there. I know, some ladies don't fart, they fuffle. But we've all been there. We have. Lesson to be learned here, folks. Lesson to be learned. Don't be aggressively farting out in public. It's no longer a thing. You can't do that in this woke world anymore. You can't go dropping massive intestinal wind with intent. With the intent to do harm, no less. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Leslie, as well. Really appreciate that, Leslie. And yeah, it was a funny story. No harm done. Bit of laugh here and there. I'm sure none of the officers had any long-lasting effects. Depends what the guy had to eat, obviously. But I would imagine that everyone made it home in one piece. And yeah, we sometimes talk about the dumb criminals. But I must admit, that one has to be some crazy ass laws, right? And on that note, let me thank you all so much for being here today. Means the world to me. We're still over here on KBS2. KBS1 is still sitting there in hiatus, waiting to see what happens. But who cares? Because right now, I am absolutely loving what we've got going on here. And I'm loving also being on the show with all the guests that we bring on over on TFR. We've got that perfect balance back, and all is well in the KBS world. Hope you're all enjoying the content. If there's anything you want me to get into, come along to Discord. I need you to come along to Discord anyway, right? Because see when we have this intro screen up, see up in the top corner there, we've got the 3 handsome emojis. I really need to start corralling in everyone's emoji Because eventually, when I go for a little break, when we're thinking about things, when we're putting ones and twos in the chat room, we'll be able to have the KBS family wall. We'll have as many of you up there as we can possibly get. Now, there's various apps that you can do this with. I think one of them is Memoji. You can ask some of the mods over in the chat room. They know about this kind of stuff far more than I do, but I think it's just something different. I like to keep you all involved because you are a big part of this. You are the show. If yous weren't here, I wouldn't be coming back time and time again, and I wouldn't be having the fun that I'm having. And we wouldn't be having the banter and the good fun that we're having over in Discord either. And I think that all translates over into the main Kev Baker show that we do on TFR. Because I'm in a far better place to be doing it with all of yous around me on here than I would be if we weren't doing all of this in the meantime. So again, I hope you really do appreciate how much myself and Kevin appreciate all of you. We're not going to change the world. We're not going to save everyone in the world on here. But this is our place where we can come. We can get into some of the mysteries. We can pull up ridiculous stories about people farting in public. And we can just let our hair down. And no, I will not be letting my hair down anytime before the end of this stream. You're just going to have to use your vivid, overactive imaginations and come up with your best ideas of just how bad my hair is looking that I won't even show it on camera anymore. So less of me, and now looking forward to Nano Girl coming on to the show. I'm pretty sure I've got her on here somewhere. There it is. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. We've even got some graphics flying in, you see. It's all happening here. So it's reality in transition. Now we'll be at tfrlive.com. You can join us in the chat room. And you can, if you're in Discord, there's a room in there as well. You can hear the show. And yes, I'll be back tomorrow with another live stream before the show with Kevin from Minnesota. And I think Kevin from Minnesota is going to be talking about the moon, the sun, and some deep woo tomorrow. So hold on to your hats for that one. And we're also going to be taking a look at some science-y type topics as well in the coming weeks. That's something that I love as much as this deep, weird woo that we often get into. But yeah, we're going to try and bring the two together. We're going to look for the synchronicities that connect the supernatural with the scientific, with everything else, and anything that comes in between, right? Why? Because that's how we roll here. So, until in just 36 minutes' time, you don't have long to wait, troops. You don't. And I'll be right back. Yes, indeed. Keep your mind open. Keep looking for the woo, but not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. Nano Girl is in the chat room. Big shout out to Nano Girl. And remember, you can hear Nano in just over 30 minutes live over on tfrlive.com on the #1 show, Kev Baker Show, of course. It's a good show, okay?